to living on the planet. So permanent culture is a lot more about what I see permaculture as being. And it doesn't just apply to farming or growing food even, it kind of expands into sort of any area that you like, really, like from politics to economics to music to, you know, organising your daily life. And so it's based on 3 ethics. So it's like an ethical philosophy, I suppose. And that is, the 3 ethics are earth care, so caring for the land, and, you know, and making sure that it stays healthy. And people care, which is a really important part of, you know, working together and building these kind of systems. And fair share, which is sharing around surplus and making sure that, you know, different elements stay, you know, spread out and keep cycling around a system or a community or the land, you know, so that nothing gets concentrated in too high amounts, because if you get a really high amount of something concentrated somewhere, what do you have the risk of? It's like, yeah, it's just like too much pollution and, you know, basically entropy. So, you know, just as kind of nutrients dissolving out of a system can turn into entropy, or like a lack of energy, just a disappearing of energy, having too much nutrient or energy in one place can kind of just lock that up and make it unusable. So fair share just kind of implies, you know, spreading it around and sharing the love. So anyway, this is a ukulele, and that's right, they're making a comeback. But I hope permaculture is too. But basically, I studied permaculture a couple of years ago, pretty recently, and one of the things we learned was that traditionally cultures around the world have sustained their permanent cultures, or at least you know, I'd say resilient cultures, because even the concept of permanence is questionable, by through things like story and song and dance and the arts, because a lot of traditional societies never had writing, as you know, and you know the way that they sort of spread ideas around and communicated was through the arts. So I was like, well, how are we gonna do that? You know, say we ran out of, you know, trees to make paper with. How are we going to communicate and you know, share ideas around? People still do it all over the place. You know, music is still a huge tool in our society to get ideas out there. So I wrote some songs about permaculture, and so this album is about the principles of permaculture. So there's 3 ethics, which is the earth care, people care, fair share, and then there's 12 principles, which are more like guidelines to sort of fall back on, and, you know, just little reminders to think about when you're designing something for, you know, a sustainable future. And like Lauren was just talking about up there, it all sort of begins with observing what's going on and what the natural world wants to do, rather than imposing what you want it to do from the word go. So that's the first principle of permaculture, is to observe and interact. So observe before you interact, and then kind of go in with a knowledge of what's happening around you. And yeah, so anyway, that's what this song's about. Everything you need is right in front of you, when you learn to see. Good things come to you. All you have to do is stop and take a look around before you intervene. Don't do anything. Just come to all your senses. They'll tell you everything. First you have to learn to stop and take a look around. Take a look around. Listen to the sound. Why not take a whiff? You'll see much better if you use more than just your eyes. Take a step outside. If you wanna know what your soil is like and what is gonna grow, well, all you have to do is stop and take a look around. Take a look around. Get your hands into the ground. Don't be afraid of the dirt, 'cause it isn't gonna hurt. And hey, if you're brave, try the flavor. I would recommend that on your soil. Take a handful of your land and go on, squeeze it in your hand. Gotta have some water added first. And then check out the display. If it stays together, it's clay. And if it falls apart, it's sand. That's a vague soil test recommendation. You're gonna take a look, take a look, take a look. Read the landscape like a book. Interact, low impact. Get your feedback when you take a look around. Abundance will abound. The problem is the solution. Just depends on your perception. Try to change yourself before you change the world. Yeah, take a look around. On the inside and the out. 'Cause when you observe yourself, you see everything else. Make good use of it now. So that's observe.